Hi everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review YouTube channel. My name's Paul. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Eddie Howe, he has decided to speak out and react to the fans who were booing yesterday when Tonali was taken off as substitute. Now, I think it was more frustration among the Newcastle fans because we were losing the game, and again we see one of our best players taken off the field when we're chasing the game. Doesn't matter whether you think Tonali was playing well or not. Tonali is the type of player that can unlock a defence in a second. And when you're chasing the game, you need players like that on the pitch. It's fine for him to go away with Italy and play 2 90-minute games back-to-back and be outstanding. It was fine when he was at AC Milan, but for some reason with Newcastle, this season, he doesn't complete 90 minutes. And I think it's a load of balls. I really do. And, you know, I can accept when he first came back from suspension, right? I can accept him playing 60 minutes and then just nurtured back in. But he's been back long enough now. He doesn't need the rest. He's a fighting fit professional footballer, this guy. And when you take him off, when you're losing 2-1 to Chelsea, for Sean Longstaff, you kind of think, what is the point? You know, a lot of people have come out after the game and said, we look a more balanced side with Sean Longstaff in it. Not a problem with those comments, but what I will say is that you're 2-1 down to Chelsea. Sean Longstaff is not going to give you that extra impetus to score. Tonali will. You know, why not say to Tonali, get further forward. We need you further forward. Link up with the striker, right? Joe Linton was flagging throughout that second half because he'd put in a monstrous shift yesterday. He was knackered to the point where he actually did come off later on. But why not bring Joe Linton off and put, if he's got to bring Longstaff on, do that substitution? Why is it always Sandro Tonali? And it's a fair question to ask. Now, Eddie said in his response, you know, to the booing that he said he was trying to make changes that give us a fresh impetus. Okay, Eddie, a fresh impetus is not Sean Longstaff. I mean, you obviously think, Eddie, that he's a lot better than what we as Newcastle United fans think he is. He's a good squad player, don't get me wrong, right? But when you're taking off a player of the quality of Sandro Tonali and replacing him with Longstaff, when you're 2-1 down against Chelsea, questions have to be asked, in my opinion. And we are right, I think we're right to ask the questions. You know, he went on to say that we want to bring on the likes of Jacob Murphy and Joe Willock. Well, that's fine, but that had nothing to do with the Sandro Tonali substitution. You know, you took Almiron off and you took Harvey Barnes off to replace them with those players. I actually think the Willock one was a good substitution because he looked very dangerous when he came on. Jacob Murphy, nah. We know the problems down the right-hand side. It's pointless even talking about that. But you've got the player of the ability of Tonali when you're chasing a game, and I think everybody has a right to ask that question. Why is it always Sandro? I don't understand it, and this is the one thing that really grinds on me about Eddie Howe is his in-game management. I love Eddie Howe. I'm not one of these people that wants him sacked. I'm still fully behind him. Believe it or not, whatever you think, I am. Many people might not be, but me as a fan, I'm still behind Eddie Howe and still believe in Eddie Howe. But he's got to put this in-game management problem, he's got to put it right. Now, I know the players need to take a lot of responsibility for it as well, and I'll come on to that when we talk about the comments from Bruno. But he needs to stop making silly substitutions just to get certain players on the pitch. You know, we didn't need Sean Longstaff yesterday. We needed Tonali. And he took Tonali off. I understand if Joe Linton was flagging, that's the player that I would have made the change. And I think, judging by what a lot of people were saying in the comments, and obviously people at the ground at the game yesterday, that is the substitution that they would have made as well. So I don't want to come down hard on Eddie because, you know, he's going through a very, very difficult patch now. And the team are as well. And they need our support massively. And they'll get our support. They always do. But he's got to start this in-game management where he's actually making positive changes. It was a negative change taking Tonali off for Longstaff. But we've got to be more positive in-game. He's got to maybe change, look at the formation, say, right, you know, 4-3-3 is not working. We're going to try and get back in this game. Let's change it up. However, what I will say on, you know, to sort of back Eddie up is he needs more help from the players. You know, you look at some of these players and they're just not performing. I mean, can you imagine how Eddie Howe felt yesterday when he watched Isak do what he did? 2-1 down, wonderful chance to get an equaliser. All he needs to do is square it across the 6-yard line for a tap-in into an empty net for Joe Linton, and Isak tries to be fancy and take 2 players on and do all the fancy flicks and tricks. You don't do that when you're 2-1 down. So that will really get at Eddie. The defending from Fabian Schär yesterday, that'll get at Eddie as well. That's not Eddie's fault. He's putting these quality players out there to do a job, and they're not doing it to the very best of their ability. But I still believe, and I don't know why, but I still believe that Eddie will turn this round and get us out of this funk and start moving up the table. But the problem is, we've got to see it soon. And because PIF will not sit around and wait, and because they want to be in the Champions League. They've made that public. And, Eddie is way, way off that at the moment with Newcastle United. Way off it. Now, you can mention the transfer windows, etc. That doesn't matter right now. In the situation we're in, that won't matter. It's results on the pitch that matter, and we've long been watching football long enough to know that it's the manager that gets it, not the players. The manager will lose his job. And if we come to the international break and we've lost the next 3 games, I genuinely think Eddie's in trouble. And I think a lot of people feel that way. But I want him to turn this round, starting on Wednesday night against Chelsea. And getting through to the next round and making an Arsenal game very difficult for Arsenal. But we'll talk about that later on in the week, obviously. But there's just a few things that need tinkering around. But will he do it? Because we know he's very stubborn as well with his own ideas. And he doesn't change for anybody. But we'll see. We'll see what he learned from this game yesterday at Chelsea. Now, Luke Edwards. The absolute cockwomble that is Luke Edwards has riled up the Newcastle United fans again. And yes, Luke, I'm calling you a cockwomble because it seems to be your mission in life, mate, that you have to destroy the Newcastle fans. You have to rile them up in every single possible way. Your comments now, yesterday, are an absolute disgrace, quite honestly. You're calling Newcastle United fans embarrassing, right? And then you turn around and you talk about Spurs and you talk about Man United's defeats yesterday. They lost to Crystal Palace and they lost to West Ham. And we lost to Chelsea. And because we're not very happy about it, we're embarrassing. But not Man United fans and not Tottenham fans, because they've got a right. Because you're completely disrespecting Crystal Palace and West Ham because they beat them yesterday. It's wrong in every sense. And we are not embarrassing, Luke Edwards. We are a very passionate fan base. Very passionate. Sometimes we're over-passionate, rightly so. We haven't won anything for donkey moons. But when you see a team yesterday, Luke, that went out there and actually, we played okay. We didn't play terribly yesterday. We played okay. But we didn't get the result because of the same mistakes that keeps happening. And you as a reporter supposed to see this on a daily basis. You're supposed to see match by match that these mistakes that keep happening with Newcastle. So don't you dare call us embarrassing. Look in the mirror, sunshine, and call yourself embarrassing. Go and take your face for a huge shit, Luke Edwards, because you're quite frankly just annoying. You're an annoying little weeble. And it's fine. Go on go on this Black and White Eyes little tour that he's doing and sit in front of the fans because there'll be about 3 or 4 of them there. And, there'll be an empty room and you'll just be able to talk to yourself, which is what you're pretty damn good at. Honestly, you are a disgrace. We're not embarrassing at all. Go and cover somebody else, will you, rather than Newcastle United? Do yourself a favour. What an imbecile. Anyway, Bruno made some comments after the game yesterday, and do you know what? He spoke the truth, and it was really nice to hear. He said that the consistency is the key so far. It's the biggest problem that Newcastle United face this season is consistency, and it's something we've all said. He said, it's all right, 25 minutes here, 20 minutes there, but that's nowhere near good enough. He says, we have to be consistent for 90 minutes, and that is the goal. It's a full 90 minutes we need to play for. And to be fair, he's convinced that if we do get that consistency right and we play that way for 90 minutes, we will beat teams. And he's right, Because if you look at recent performances, we've always had those spells in games where we've been dominant, but we haven't taken our chances or haven't put anything away, and then we end up, either drawing or losing the game. I think he's right. I think if we get the full consistency, I mean, obviously for a full 90 minutes, it's very difficult. You're always going to have your ups and downs during the game, aren't you? But the full 90 minutes, if we get an 80 minutes of consistency, then I think we start blowing teams away. I really do. But it has to be consistency where everything is clicking on the pitch. The midfield is working. The strikers putting the ball in the onion bag, because that's a problem, scoring goals. We have to be consistent all around the pitch. But I really like that he's identifying it. He says, he also mentioned the goal scoring. He says, we have to score more goals. It's very, very difficult for us at the moment, he said. But he said he's not happy at all with the way things are going on the pitch. Now, to me, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear that the players are not happy with the results and the performances on the pitch. Because if they know, the manager will know, and they'll all try and put that together. Now, Eddie Howe may well have, slipped up the other day in his press conference talking about the harmony in the dressing room. It hasn't quite been there this season and things like that. But, we have been critical about these players wanting contracts and extra money. Go and prove that you're worth that extra contract. Your extensions and your multi-millions of pounds pay rises. Go and prove that to everybody. So I'm really pleased with what Bruno's come out with, because it's nice to hear a player come out and say that we just haven't been good enough. And the problems that the fans are seeing, Bruno is mentioning in that interview, the consistency, the goal scoring. He's not happy as captain of this football club that we are losing games and not up the right end of the table. And that's good for me to hear, because it means that, I know Bruno cares. We all know Bruno cares. And now it's up to the players and the manager to make sure that they show us that they care on that football field. And finally, Alan Shearer, he's also questioned Newcastle performances and said that about the intensity. We used to be in the faces of the opposition constantly. Whenever we'd lose the ball, we were like the, little Jack Russells going back to get it, biting at the ankles of the opposition. Teams were scared to play us because of our high intensity. And Alan simply is just asking, where is the nastiness gone? Where is that, intensity level? And, is that the harmony in the dressing room? He says, it could be from what's happened in the boardroom, that the things have just taken a little bit of a downward spiral. But if Newcastle get this intensity back, and I think that's also what, Bruno's talking about as well, get that intensity back and make life difficult, very difficult for the opposition. And I'm still confident we can do it. I'm sitting here now, yes, I was very disappointed after the game yesterday, and, rightly so, I believe. There is some people who will not have anything negative said against Newcastle United. Fine. If you don't like honesty, then, go and sit on your own and clap Newcastle and think everything's rosy in the garden. But, on this channel, as you know, we're very, very honest. And when things are not going well, we'll call it out. But when things are going well, we'll also call that out. And we want things to go bloody well. We want to be cheering near the top of the league. We want to be beating teams like Chelsea, etc. and going on a great run in the Premier League and seeing our wonderful players performing to their maximum levels. That's all we want to see, and that's what Alan Shearer's talking about. Let's get back to those levels and start thumping some teams, giving them a real hiding, if you like. Get stuck into Chelsea on Wednesday. Make life as difficult as we can for Arsenal at the weekend. Get into them, because they hate the physical stuff. We're capable of that. So, yeah, it's really good comments from Bruno. Really good comments from Shearer as well. But let me know what you think of Eddie Howe's comments regarding Tonali. Are you a bit perplexed as to why it's Tonali that always gets sacrificed? Let me know in the comments. But thank you very much for watching. Please do give it a like and a subscribe if you are new to the channel and you like what you see. If you're watching this on Monday afternoon, don't forget tonight at 7 o'clock we've got the live review of the Chelsea defeat, and we'll also give you our player rating. So it's probably going to be a spicy one again. So make sure you tune into that one. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Monday, folks. Take care.